Hey guys, welcome back to Day-to-Day Chess. This is Sabina and I hope you're ready to season up your Sunday with an endgame study explained. Don't forget to check out my Day-to-Day Cooking of a Grandmaster website. You can find, like usually, the link in the description below. For today, I have planned to show you the solutions for the composition competition that I had a couple of days ago, and after that, of course, I will be showing the endgame that I had prepared for you guys today. Something else that I wanted to mention is that today was the last round of the London Chess Classic, and Magnus Carlsen won his game, a very beautiful game against Alexander Grischuk, to catch up with the leaders, Anish Giri and Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. So a very nice finish there for Magnus, and they are going to be playing tiebreakers, which probably are happening right now as I'm recording this video. I'll be sure to analyze for next week some of the games. As I promised to you some days ago, I will be preparing a scheme, let's say, a little resume of the things that you can expect for this week to see whether you're interested in checking them out or not. So hopefully this will work a little bit better than what I was doing until now. Let's just check out these solutions first and then see the endgame that I had prepared for you. So this was the first position that I had given you, and it was mate in 3 and created by Edward Lasker. The solution for this position is very beautiful. For those of you who haven't seen my video where I gave these two mates as, let's say, like a little contest, be sure to pause the video and try to solve it before checking out the solution. If you have, here is the solution. G8, but not queen, knight. G8 knight is very important because Black now has no way to go, has to push the pawn in b5, and now it's the problem. We cannot just move the knight and checkmate because we would allow the king to move to a2. Additionally, Black could play b4, so that's something we don't want. And that's the reason we had to promote a knight, because now we can close the action of the bishop, protecting this knight in b4. Black has to take in b4, and now White goes knight c6 mate, controlling, of course, the square a5. So this was basically the solution for this one. I think it's very beautiful. It was not very difficult. The next position that I had for you was this one, and I mentioned to you that there is a story to this position. The position was invented by, well, created, not invented, by Sam Lloyd in 1861, and it's a mate in 5. And what happened is Lloyd apparently had a friend who wanted to just bet that he could always find the piece which was going to deliver the principal mate of any chess problem. So, to take his friend up on this bet, Lloyd created this position and, made a bet with his friend that he was not going to be able to figure out what piece is going to checkmate in the main line. And of course he won that bet. Now I really hope you guys have solved this position. It's so beautiful. And I also hope that you have not used the engine to check for the mate. If you did, probably also you didn't really find the mate in 5, because normally engines in positions like this, they have some trouble finding it immediately. It probably took some time for it to find it, but hopefully you have not used it. And let's see what's going on in this position. Well, Black's king is trapped here in h1, so obviously some check on the first rank would, lead to checkmate. But the problem in this position is that if we try to open this rook, right, we should not be moving this rook and the knight, because they are controlling and keeping this king from being, from exiting from h1. So if we just take in a3, let's say, and threaten rook b1 mate, it seems that Black has no defense to stop this mate from happening, but Black actually had a threat at the starting of the position, which is something hopefully you guys saw. That threat was rook c5 check. So after rook c5, I'm trading your rook. That's about to mate me, and it's going to take a longer time for white to actually win this position. Still winning, but now mating 5. So going back to the starting position, we can just take, and also we can just move the rook to d5 or f5 for the same reason, because black would just play rook c5, pin our rook, and we don't have the opportunity of mating. That is the reason why we have to try to find other ways to mate. Now, one person who had written me a response mentioned knight g5, with the idea, of course, to bring the knight to f3 and rook h2 mate. This is one idea. Another idea would be to close the action, right? So that black, whenever he's going to play rook c5, is not going to be check rook. And here, black still could play rook c5, and after takes, you kind of have to take. You cannot play knight f3, right? You're still pinned. Take. Here, we don't take back. We can play king g1, and eventually, the mate is going to last longer than just 5 moves. So the correct move in this position is so gorgeous, is b4. You're actually not even going for your, opening of the rook, but you're going for the controlling of the c5 square, because now you're threatening rook d5 or rook f5 to come and mate on the first rank. And in this position, probably one of the best answers for black is rook c5. For example, if they would try to play some, maybe bishop g5 to try to close the action of the rook, rook f5 to play bishop f4, that's okay, I still take. And then after rook c5 check, we take this rook. No matter what you do, my next move is rook f1, and it's the 5th move, checkmate. So bishop b5 wouldn't be, a good defense here for black. If black captures in c2, simply knight takes c2. We got rid of the rook that was, stopping white from checkmating. So now we're just gonna go for the checkmate once again. And the fact that black would promote to anything here, it would not matter, because we just take the piece and then still rook f1 mate. It's unstoppable. Okay, so probably the best solution for black here is rook c5. Okay, so what do we do here? Well, it's a free rook, right? And it's check rook, so we really need to take. Again, we're threatening rook b1 mate, and there's only one way for black to stop it, and that's a2. Okay, so here you have to find this beautiful idea, of course, to open up your rook, and try to... It's not as beautiful just yet. You might not realize the importance of this c6 just yet. Threatening rook d5 or rook f5. And here, for example, if black just takes, we just go rook f5, followed by rook f1 mate. If black plays bishop g5 to threaten to play, bishop f4 to stop the rook from mating in f1, well, we have 2 places to mate. Rook d5 is going to be played, and the mate in d1 is inevitable. So, in this position, black can play bishop c7. What's the idea of this move? Well, be able to play bishop f4, but in the same time, if you play rook d5, now capturing g3, and, okay, you have mate in 2, but it's going to bring the mate to 6 moves, not 5. So, white has to find a really nice way to mate here. Be sure to pause the video if you haven't seen the line this far, and be sure to try to figure it out. So the move is c takes b7. And here, after c takes b7, there's no way for black to stop white from capturing the knight, and there's no piece that black can actually put to stop the mate from happening. F5, let's say, we're just capturing. And it's a checkmate. So here was, if you want to be even more cool, you can actually promote to a bishop and have the checkmate this way also. So this was the solution to Sam Lloyd's 1961 mate in 5. Of course, his friend did not figure out what that piece was. I really hope you enjoyed these two positions, and I'll be sure to find ways to show you some beautiful positions that have been composed throughout the history of chess. Okay, so now let's just see the position that I had for you guys today, and this is the position. It is black to move, so I'm going to flip the board so you can look from black's perspective in here. And I want you to pause the video and try to figure out what's going on in this position. Is white winning? Black can make a draw. Maybe black is winning, you know. So be sure to pause the video and figure that out. Okay, so hopefully you're back now. And let me tell you a little bit about this position. I ran across it as I was reading for I don't know how many times, the book called Invisible Moves by Emanuel Neyman and Johanna Nafek. And it's a really good book. If you guys don't have it yet, be sure to purchase this book. It's really amazing. And it seems that in this position, which was played between Shirov and Timan in 1996 in Vaikanzem, black resigned. And, you know, how come? How come black resigned in this position? Do you guys really think black is really losing in this position? And it seems that to a good play, black could have made a draw, and it wasn't that difficult. Just because white has a pawn up in a king-pawn endgame, it doesn't necessarily mean that the person, the color that has a pawn up, is winning. So you really have to calculate and till the end. We are close to the end, so what's the point in not calculating all of these things? So king d6 would have made a draw in this position, and after h4, king takes c6. What to do? I mean, white is going for the passed pawn, right? So c5, of course. And in this position, f5, I'm sorry, f5, king d6 is the important move. And not taking in f5. After g takes f5, white is going to be winning here because h5, the king comes, g6. This is a typical way to win a position like this. The king is too far away from the square of this h5 pawn, so whenever black is capturing in g6, h6 is played and the king is too far from capturing. So probably this is what Grandmaster Jan Timman calculated, and it can happen to everybody. That's why I really wanted to put this position to kind of remind you all that you should not give up too early. Just be sure you're calculating everything as much as you can, and just resign when it's really, really clear that the game is over. And after king d6, why is the position drawn? Well, if you take in g6, you're even going to lose with white, because I take back and my pawn is really too further. So by the time you go take this pawn, black is gonna go and take those two. So obviously you cannot make that mistake. So white would be playing f6 in this position. And now it's important to see king d7, king f3, king d6, king e4, king g7. Black is just staying here, basically. And as the king comes to try to enter, don't push the pawn. Don't make this mistake of pushing c6, because once you do, white just goes king c5. You have to move the king in the square of that pawn, and then white just captures in c6, after which I think it's clear for everybody that this position is winning for white. So do not make the mistake of playing c6. In this position, after king d5, just go king e8. Okay? And if white goes king c6, you just go king d8. Your pawn is protected. Anytime they'll push that pawn, you will go capture it. And because of the way the pawns are being placed, there's no way for white to take black away from this corner. So as soon as I win this pawn, if you push f7, right? Even if the king got on the file, on the rank of this h7 pawn, white will never be able to capture that pawn. And this position is a super easy draw. So after king e8, king c6, like I said, king d8, there's no way for white to actually progress the position. Don't make the mistake of playing this blunder, because after c5 you're just losing. So basically white has no way to progress. Let's just see here, king e6. Would king e6 have any ideas of winning? No, of course not, because just king f8. And anytime you try to push that pawn, you have to be very careful, because now you might even be losing, because I took your king further from the pawns, and black is the one who now goes to g4 and wins that pawn. So white just has to hang out with the king on e5, d5, and keep his pawn in f6, and because of that, so basically that position would probably end around here. Black hangs out on these 3 squares, and white the same, and anytime king c6 is played, black should be sure that they can play king d8. But since they only hang out in these squares, that will happen. Don't play king d8 first though, because if, for example, in this position after king d5, black goes king d8, I think it's quite clear that after king c6, black is in Tuzva and cannot go to c8, because he would be out of the square of this pawn, and here white is winning. So definitely not that. Anytime king d5 is being played, or king c5, or anywhere that is about to come to c6, black has to stay on these 2 squares, and it's a draw. That's all I had for you guys today. I really hope you have enjoyed my video. Be sure to stay tuned for next week's plan, and have a wonderful week. See you soon, and be sure to check the London Chess Classic finals. Thank you. Bye.